Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello and welcome. Happy New Year. This is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we are here on our first episode of 2026 for Let's Finally Talk. Wherever it is that you are watching, whatever platform, I'd love to ask you to come on over to our YouTube channels, which I will put up the graphic. We have two. They are USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and you can find all of our content here. Well, today our topic is going to be a little bit different than what you might have been seeing in other places. Our topic is you don't need a new version of yourself. And many times we hear that, oh, it's the first of the year. We need to change this. We need to change that. Or maybe we're actually thinking to ourselves, we need to change this and change that. Well, it's actually not the case. We are actually okay just the way we are. But yet we don't always believe that. So as we begin the new year, I want to offer you this. You don't need a new version of yourself. You don't need to erase last year and pretend it didn't happen. And you don't need to fix who you are before you begin. Sometimes we take this and put so much pressure on ourselves that we're not actually able to do anything. So I was chatting with some friends and I had mentioned the fact that probably the fitness clubs, the gyms are going to be packed for the next 2 weeks. Everyone thinking about how they're going to be changing their physicality. They're going to be working out more and getting healthier. And the truth is, maybe what you're doing right now is serving you. Maybe you are healthy the way that you are. Maybe by putting on undue pressure to change certain things, you might be causing so much stress that you actually make yourself sick by trying to change. So what I would suggest is this. Look at what you're doing today and say to yourself, you are not broken and you don't need fixing. You don't need to erase who you were, who you are in order to grow. And sustainable change really begins with listening, not declaring. So it starts off with us being able to listen to ourselves instead of getting caught up in what everyone else is doing. So maybe you just had a holiday function or you met with some friends or family and everyone was talking about they have to do this. And what are you going to do? And how are you going to change? And sometimes people will even throw out suggestions. Well, have you considered losing weight or have you considered doing this or doing that? And so we become overwhelmed with what other people think. And then we start looking at ourselves and saying, you know what, maybe I do need to lose weight. Maybe I do need to work more. I need to work less. I need to sleep more, whatever the case may be. And now we have all of this stress that we didn't have before. So let's look at where we are today. And let's look at the things that we really are proud of ourselves, the things that we love about ourselves, the things that if no one was watching and we were to write them down, these are the things I really love about myself. So I'm going to challenge you to do this right now. Do this with me. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, a pencil, something that you have, and physically write down the things about yourself that you accomplished in 2025 and you're really proud of them. Maybe you don't even want other people to know because people start examining, they start picking apart every little thing that you've done. What have you done in 2025 that you're really proud of? Have you written it down? Okay, I'm going to assume that you have written it down. Now, what happened in 2025 that maybe did not go exactly the way that you wanted it to go? I know for me, there were a few things that didn't go the way that I wanted them to go. And that's something else I want you to think about. We can think about every possible thing that can happen to us. And the things that we didn't think about are typically what's going to happen to us. So worrying about the unknown, in my mind, is literally a waste of time. So, there on your piece of paper, you've written down the things you're most proud of for 2025. And now you're writing down what things did not necessarily go your way. They can be personal, they can be professional. Maybe you were in a relationship and it didn't work out. Maybe you have health issues. Maybe you became employed. Maybe you're unemployed. Whatever the case is, write those things down as well. Okay, so as you're writing them down, I want you to think about this. What did you actually learn as a result of the things that didn't go the way you wanted them to go? There always has to be a lesson. I know for me, the lessons that I've learned, even one that happened in the last 2 days, they're literally priceless. You think you know people, you think you understand, and it turns out you actually do not. But there's a lesson there. And so those things that didn't necessarily go the way you wanted them to go, they can be your lessons and they can go actually onto the positive. So now your list for 2025 is made up of only positives. And I want you to think about that when you think about yourself. When you look in the mirror, instead of thinking of all the things that are not the way you want them to be, look at all the things that are. Look at all the things you have to be grateful for. And I'll just be candid here. If you're joining for the first time, I have struggled with my perception of my weight for my entire life. And I believe it stems back to something that my father said. And he said, you can never be too rich and you can never be too thin. And he would also say that men only like thin girls, something like that. And, may you rest in peace. I love my dad, so I'm not picking him apart, but it really stuck with me. And so no matter what my weight is, I don't even get weight anymore. I have a scale and I actually put it away. And I just look at how do I feel. And of course, now I'm 62, so it's not the same as it used to be. I think up until 55, I really didn't like the way I looked. And now I look back and I was like, wow, you actually look pretty good. So it just goes to show you we torment ourselves. So now what I'm doing is I'm saying to myself, okay, I don't look exactly the way I want myself to look, which I don't know what way that would be, but I'm super strong. For a 62-year-old woman, I was just saying that I pushed this sled, it had 550 pounds, and I pushed it multiple times after I'd already worked out for 2 hours. So I'm pretty proud of that. No, I'm not a skinny mini. No, I'm not a string bean. No, I'm not as thin as I'm sure that I could be. But I'm saying to myself, at 62, I'm pretty darn strong. So that's what I'd like you to do. Whatever it is that's really bothering you about yourself, or something that you always are thinking about, or you wish you could change, what are the things you really love about yourself? I truly believe when we embrace the things that we love about ourselves, then we're able to have the confidence, the strength, and the energy to tackle some new things, to take on some new things, that therefore we're not so consumed with what we do not have. We become more appreciative of what we do have. So if you've got your list there, your list now really has only positives for 2025. The things that you accomplished that you're really proud of, and then the lessons that you learned from the things that did not necessarily go your way. And let's face it, life is definitely a journey. If everything went our way all the time, we wouldn't appreciate it. I know some people, and I've been like this too. Things are really going well. Everything's going your way. And you think to yourself, something's got to happen soon. Something bad is going to happen because that's the way life is. And sometimes that is the way that life is actually. But when we focus on how we get an opportunity, I mean, for those of us who are still here, right? We get another opportunity to have a day to make things happen. The one thing that we really do have that I appreciate every single day, I'm so grateful for this. We have choice. We have the ability to make choices. And sometimes we make choices knowing they are not inherently aligned with our values. Or inside, we feel something is off, but yet we go down this path anyway. And then once we get down the path, we look back and we say, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have done that. Let's look at all the things that we have done that we're really proud of, all the things that we can celebrate. So for me, this is my 4th year in broadcasting. We started January 15th of 2021 or 2, I'm not sure. I think it's 22. And so in this amount of time, I never believed in a million years that I could leave my corporate job where I got the paycheck and I got all the benefits and I traveled around the world to having my own business and being sustainable and being here with you today. I never could have imagined this. So there were so many naysayers along the way, and there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of panic thinking about what if? What if no one believes in me? What if no one believes in my message? What if no one aligns with me? What if everyone leaves me? What if my team just decides to walk out and says, we don't want to do this anymore? Anything can happen. But the journey that I've been on, I could never have imagined. So today I sit here at 62 having 2 businesses, being self sufficient, and saying, you know what? I've learned a lot. And even though I've beat myself up along the way, and I still continuously am my own worst critic, I am super grateful for the version of me that is here today. I get a lot of abuse about my nails. People love to talk about my nails. They hate my nails. I love my nails. So my nails to me, every time I look at them, I think of all the people who have tried to hold me back and tell me all the things that are wrong with me. And it's the same thing with you. If people are putting you down, if they're telling you the version of you is no good, guess what? Maybe it's time for you to cut ties and move along. Maybe it's time for you to look in the mirror and say, is there any validation to what the person is saying? What do I mean by that? If you're doing things that really do not serve you, they're putting your safety at risk, they're putting your health at risk, and your family members, your friends, whomever, they're bringing it up to you. Maybe this is something you should consider. If it's not something that is really aligned with your physical, mental health, and your safety, maybe these are things that people see in themselves and they're projecting it onto you. I find this a lot. When someone is unhappy or uncomfortable with themselves in some way, and they see the tiniest possible opportunity to jump on you for the same thing, I find it's because they're really unhappy with themselves. So, my wish for you, whomever you are, wherever you are, is instead of thinking of what it is you need to do to fix yourself, think about what can you do to embrace yourself, to say, you know what, I'm a pretty good person. I'm pretty happy with who I am, not from a place of ego, but from a place of love. Because when we come from a place of love, we are able to give love to others. We are able to help other people without being angry and feeling like it's forced. So many times people will volunteer, they'll donate money, and the whole time they're complaining. Why am I doing this? Why are they calling me, asking me for money? Why are the homeless people coming up to me? Instead of saying, wow, I get an opportunity to help someone in their life. What a beautiful thing. And it starts with you. So, whoever you are out there who's listening or you're watching, what is it that you love about you? If you could shout it to the world right now. In fact, if you want, put it in the comments. If you feel safe and compelled, this is a safe environment, put it in the comments. This is what I love about myself. And we will celebrate you. because that's what it's all about. Instead of the endless pressure to change, let's say you're not working out. Okay, there's all kinds of studies. Okay, I don't have to tell you, there's all kinds of studies and actual research that is compelling enough to have people think about the possibility of maybe I should get off the couch and do something. Maybe I should get some steps in. Maybe I should lift weights. And if you're not doing it, what's going on inside of you? It's probably because you're either so happy with the way your life is, knowing that it's unhappy, that you're being unhealthy, but you've accepted it. Maybe you're at a place of peace where you're saying to yourself, you know what, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I choose not to do it. And I'm okay with that. Once you're okay with your decision, no one can fault you for that. You get to make a choice. And by the way, you get to set a boundary. And the boundary can be as simple as I like who I am. I don't need to rewrite the next chapter of my life. Just because the calendar changes and we're moving into a new year, I don't have to drop everything that I've built to change because it's a new year. So I want you to think about what is working for you and acknowledge what isn't working for you. Acknowledge it. Say it out loud. I am not getting enough sleep, for example. I get a lot of sleep, so I'm not saying that, but whatever your example is, just acknowledge it. And start by building consistency instead of chasing motivation. So everything starts out with making a choice. So if you are making some choices for your life for 2026, in order to achieve them, if you plan on changing something, you have to put a plan in place. Hello, thanks for joining us over on YouTube. I appreciate that. Hello. You have to put a plan in place. And again, this is not something that you even have to share with anyone. Once we share things with people, we open ourselves up for criticism. We open ourselves up for scrutiny. And what do I mean by this? Well, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, that some of you out there might be thinking that you're going to do something about the way you physically look as you move into the new year. And let's say you've decided you're going to lose weight, but your partner isn't interested in losing weight. And now you, by deciding you're going to change your behavior, you don't want to go out to dinner, or you don't want to eat the Cheetos or the pretzels or whatever the thing is. Your partner is not going to be happy about that, most likely, because now you're changing the dynamics of your lifestyle. So if you are making a commitment to a resolution, it definitely has an impact on the people in your life. So you may want to keep it to yourself. You may want to keep it to yourself until you are actually at the point where you are being consistent in your behavior. Because what else happens? Then you start hearing the feedback. Oh, okay, you want to lose weight? Well, you've been saying that for the last however number of years, and you never stick to it. You're not going to stick to it. People love to take us and put us down. So by keeping it to yourself, you're not exposing yourself to that. But you may be okay right where you are today when you start giving thanks for the positives in your life. I've shared this before. When I wake up and I can see out of both of my eyes, I don't take that for granted. I've had floaters and flashes, and I was told that I could have my retina could detach and I have to be aware of it. So I started getting crazy about it, closing my one eye, then the other eye, constantly like, do I see any curtains? So I wake up and I say, you know what? I can see, I can hear, I can breathe. My parents struggled with those three things. And when you watch someone struggle to breathe, that is the hardest thing, because if you have no breath, you can't do anything. You can't function. So these are basic things that are really a gift. It's a gift that I get to be here today with you. Some people have said, why would you be working on a holiday? I don't even think this is work. The fact that I get to come here and share my experiences with you is actually a gift. The fact that you're here with me is a gift. So I thank you for that. And what I really would like you to take away of this particular episode is the fact that you don't need a new version of yourself. You can accept yourself and be at peace. I shared in the beginning of the show that I've always mentally not liked the way that I look. I've always thought I should be thinner. I should have a six-pack stomach. I should be this. I should be that. And I was going to, as of next week, I was going to change what I'm eating and not do this and not all these rules I was going to put in place. And even though I eat fairly healthy, I am 62. I'm not 20 years of age. So certain things happen as you get older. And I just said to my family the other day, I said, you know what? I'm actually not going to change anything. I'm pretty happy with who I am. And I have to accept the fact that I'm not a 25-year-old woman. I'm a 62-year-old woman and I don't look like I'm 25. And I'm not going to ever look like I'm 25. I'm not going to go get facelifts and not critiquing anyone who does. But I've decided that I'm going to like myself just the way I am today. And once I decided that and accepted it, it's like, whew, so much less stress as opposed to thinking, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to drink this, all of these things. I really can't even begin to tell you what a relief it is. We do have a question. I don't normally take questions, but I will. Hello, what is the purpose of this live today? Thank you for asking. Our title is You Don't Need a New Version of Yourself. Today is January 1st, 2026. It is the second in some parts of the world, but today people are making all kinds of plans and commitments to change the way they are. And my suggestion is to think about loving yourself exactly where you are, exactly the way you are. That doesn't mean that you can't move forward and change some of your habits, but you can move forward without abandoning yourself in the process. So as we start 2026, my invitation to you is very simple. Don't reinvent yourself. Strengthen your relationship with yourself. Let me say that again. Do not reinvent yourself. Strengthen your relationship with yourself. This is where the real change begins. Every day, you get a choice of how you're going to spend your time. And thank you very much for yes, thank you. Thank you for the positive message. Thank you very much for your share. I appreciate you. Every day we get to make a choice. And you can say to yourself, you know what? I'm not going to beat myself up anymore. I'm not going to put myself down anymore. I'm going to lift myself up so that I can find inner peace. For those of you who don't know, I'm also a peace ambassador and I take it very seriously. And part of being a peace ambassador is learning how to help people communicate effectively because we all have that need to feel heard, to feel acknowledged. But it starts with us. It starts with us acknowledging our own selves. Instead of looking around for other people to give you external feedback, why not say that this day, this moment in time, you are going to make a commitment to love yourself and believe that you know what is best for yourself because we have intuition. And our intuition, as far as I'm concerned, has never let me down. But I'm here to tell you, I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to my intuition for probably 45 years. And I would just make decisions knowing it's like, oh, it doesn't feel right. I don't really think I should be doing it. But I did it because I wanted to be a people pleaser. Or I did it because I had a fear of missing out. I did it for some reason that wasn't my truth. So we have a comment, strengthening myself. Okay, let me put this up. Thank you for sharing. Strengthening myself means cutting off close family and creating boundaries that will hurt some people. I'm in a dilemma. You know what? Thank you so much for coming forward with this. This is something that happens quite often. I teach people how to create boundaries, and it's not easy because typically, who are we creating these boundaries from? Our family, our friends, our loved ones. And why are we doing it? Because we're mean, because we're nasty, because we want to hurt someone? No, it's self-preservation. It's saying to yourself, you know what? This isn't working for me, but because I was born into this family or because I married into this, whatever the case is, all of a sudden there are these situations and they don't feel right. So what do? We keep our mouth shut, we don't say anything, or we actively engage in some kind of confrontation. And that doesn't feel good. And so what ends up happening? We end up suffocating ourselves. We put ourselves in what I would call a timeout. And the whole time we're so filled with negative emotions. We're bitter, we're angry, maybe we're filled with shame, maybe we're scared, we're afraid what is going to happen next. So, I have done an entire series about setting boundaries, and we don't have that much time left today. But what I will share with you is when you think about yourself and setting a boundary for yourself, if you think of a boundary as a wall, you're keeping yourself on the one side and you're keeping somebody else on the other side, and they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it unless they've worked on themselves, and then they'll honor the boundary. And so, your journey, should you choose to accept it, is to work on yourself because we cannot control anyone else. I'm a big Mel Robbins fan, and Mel Robbins has the let them theory. Let them get angry because you set a boundary. Let them leave. Let them judge. Let them gossip. Let them say whatever it is they're going to say about you because why? You can't control it. So if you're continuously, being a people pleaser, or you're putting yourself out there and it doesn't feel good, you're only hurting yourself. You can't control. Just like now, I'm in the public domain, okay? People could be putting whatever comments out there. I can't control what people are putting out there. All I can control is the way I react to it. So, for example, we had a show before this, and we were getting some comments that had nothing to do with the TV show. It had to do with politics and it had to do with world affairs. But yet people felt inclined and they just kept putting their negativity and their hatred. And so what I chose was just to acknowledge it and point out the fact that there are a lot of people putting negative comments. And by the way, you're in the public domain and we know who you are. We know that you are filled with hate. And so I have to give you grace because I can't take that on. I can only share with you my knowledge and my wisdom based on my experience. I've had a lot of experience in my life, some terrific, and then some learning experiences, but all of it has brought me here today before you. And so, to my friend who is wondering about the boundaries, strengthening yourself does mean setting boundaries. And that does mean that people can be hurt. We can't say will because we don't know. But here's the thing, they may not be hurt. They may respect you. If they're coming from a place of love, there's only love or there's fear. If they're coming from fear, oh yeah, they're going to have a lot of negative emotions. A lot of judgment's going to take place, most likely. I'm not a mind reader. But if they're coming from a place of love, they may feel so happy for you that you are taking care of you. Because if you are not protecting yourself and taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And I'd like you to think about this, and I've given this example before. If you've ever seen a reality TV show like Survivor, not a paid spokesperson, other shows where people are out in the woods, at some point, someone has to build a fire. And in order to build the fire, you need certain things. So you're going to need a flint. I don't build fires, but I'm just explaining theoretically. You need kindling, and then the fire needs oxygen to continue to grow. It's the same thing when you are having upheaval or discourse or confrontation with another person. Someone has to keep it going. When you set the boundary and you say, I'm not stepping into the fire, you're protecting yourself. But when you're coming from a place of ego, and the ego is typically, I'm right and you're wrong. I'm going to show you. I'm going to ruin your day. You think you can do this to me? Wait till you see what I'm going to do to you. Negative, negative, negative. It's like the people who post negative comments on social media. Do you respond to them? Oh, you think this about me? Well, I think that no, you're going right into the fire. You have no boundary. You have no emotional intelligence, because now, instead of you rising above from a place of love, you're down in the fire with the other person. You're duking it out over who has the biggest ego, who's got the biggest paycheck, the biggest car. Who cares? You do, because that's where you are at the moment. So, what I am advocating for, the whole purpose of this episode, is for you to find the love of yourself just the way you are at this very minute. There's nothing to fix, there's nothing to do. That doesn't mean that you don't get choice if you choose to do something because you made a conscious choice. If you make the choice, you've got to back it up with the plan. You've got to back it up and deliver on that plan for the change of the behavior. Now that we have these weight loss drugs, which I have no opinion on, I haven't done any research, so I don't like to speak about things that I haven't researched. But what I will share is it's the whole concept that now you could get an injection and you start losing weight. Well, some of what I've read is that there are side effects. And again, I'm not well versed on this, but there are a lot of side effects. But yeah, you get thin. So you make a choice. If you want to lose weight, you have a choice. You could ask your doctor to give you the injection or the prescription for the injection, or you could change what you're eating, or you could get more exercise. You have choices. Or you could say, you know what? I'm very happy with the way that I am. And if your family and friends and loved ones are not, you can set a boundary. And the boundary is in a respectful way. Remember this, to my friend who was talking about boundaries. When you are setting a boundary, expect that people are going to be upset about it. I already shared that. But you can present it in such a way that they have no ability to give an opinion. And you just state the fact. I really am happy with myself. I don't want to talk about it any further. And if they continue, you say the same thing. And if they continue, what do? You acknowledge what they say and you just turn around and walk away. I've done that a zillion times. Thank you. I heard what you had to say. Sometimes I'll say, thank you. I heard what you had to say, and I have no comment because I'm not going to jump into the fire. I know who I am, and I've set my boundaries. And so setting boundaries can be so liberating. One of the courses that I teach in person is called Setting Boundaries and Asking Permission. And it's really an 8-hour course, and you get a certification at the end. And what's interesting is almost every time I've taught it in the United States, I've taught it in London, I've taught it in Greece, I've also taught it in Zambia virtually. And people will show up because some relationship in their life is not working, but they are absolutely convinced that it's the other person's fault. And of course, the other person isn't at the training, it's just them. And so they come in and they're taking notes and they're taking notes, and they can't wait to leave the class so they can go tell the other person that they're this, and this. So, what I will share with you is the same thing I share with them. When you are listening to a television show like this, or you are reading something, you're gaining information, you are looking to better yourself. Now, do you then turn around and tell your significant other, your family members, your friends, oh, guess what? I was watching this TV show with Dr. Jacalyn and she said this, that, and the other. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to be defensive. They're not going to like it. And especially if you name call, if you label someone with a name, as soon as you do that, you're going into that fire again. So take what I'm sharing with you today, and if any of it resonates with you, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself and apply it to yourself, because this way it's information that you have in your tool belt so that you can find inner peace. As humans who are not evolved, people who do not work on themselves, the first thing that we want to do is throw somebody else under the bus. We see someone doing well, they're happy, they're content, and we're not. Oh, we just want to bring them down. We want to bring them down to our level. And that's jumping into the fire. So take what it is that you're learning to better yourself, put it into action, have an action plan for yourself, and realize you don't need other people's approval to work on yourself. You don't need other people's approval to say, you know what, I'm pretty darn happy with who I am. Once you really start believing this and making it your own practice, you will find people in your life will start to go away. And that's okay because they served a purpose. They were here for a time. And I've shared this before. I like to think about relationships as a tree. And if you've ever seen trees that have been around for a long time, you know this how, because they have big, thick roots. Sometimes the concrete is broken, the asphalt is broken because those roots are so deep. And then on the tree, you have the branches and then you have the leaves. And where I am in the US right now, it's winter. And so the leaves are gone. The branches are still there, but we have many relationships that are like the leaves. And we get upset about it, especially when you are in love with yourself, when you're in like with yourself, when you're embracing and acknowledging who you are. The leaves don't like it and they go. But we try to cling on. We cling on. Guess that was pretty fun. We try to cling on to the leaves, but they're not meant to stay. And so by doing so, we're actually putting ourselves back into that fire. Then we look at the branches. It's not as often that you're going to see a branch actually break off, unless it's like a thin twig. But the branches are going to be more stable than the leaves are. And then the roots of the tree, they're the solid relationships. They're the relationships where you can be yourself and you can say, you know what? I love this about myself. I'm really proud of myself, or I'm in the process of evaluating some things I might want to change. And instead of them jumping on you and saying, oh, I told you so. Well, we've all known that you should do this and that. They'll just be a listener. Hey, I'm here for you. If you want to chat it out, I can just be a good listener. So start to notice, who are the leaves in your life? Who are the branches? And who are the roots? And you make the decision of who you want to have in your life. As I mentioned at the beginning, one of the most beautiful things that we have is choice, the power of making a choice. And I want to thank you to those of you who continue to follow me. If you don't know, I own a television network called USA Global TV and Radio. You can see the logo there. We've also earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, which is there for over 100,000 subscribers. And I'm actually going to show you what the channel looks like. So I do this show almost every day. I try to do it as often as possible. And I'm also running the television network. So here is our channel, USA Global TV and Radio. And some of you are watching from there right now, and I thank you for that. And then we also have our second channel, which is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. And this is this channel here. And so if you would subscribe to both of them, I'd really appreciate it. And I'm also going to be hosting a course that is really in alignment with what we're talking about today. It's called Elevated Listening in the Age of Misinformation. So as a peace ambassador, it's my role to really help people understand that there's misinformation, there's disinformation, and there's malinformation. And so when we are truly being honest with ourselves and who we are, we want to continue learning. I compare it to being a child, a small child, where we have that childlike curiosity and wonder. We're kind of like, let me know as much as I can. So I'm consistently learning more. And in addition to being a peace ambassador, I'm starting a course at the Wharton School. It's the Chief Strategy Officer course that starts on Friday. We already had our first orientation. And I share this with you because my job, I feel the legacy that I want to leave is to continue to provide you with education, to continue to give you tools that you can use in your own life. So if any of this has resonated with you and you want to drop me a line, I'd love to hear from you. I will share with you my contact details once I find them. I'm actually producing the show. And what you don't know is on the side here, I've got 150 probably different things that I have to scroll through for videos, overlays, and banners. So let me see if I can find mine. And then you can feel free to contact me. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on one of our shows, You can do that by going to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com, or you can go to drjacalyn.com. That's where my books are. I've written over 20 some books on listening primarily, and I've got a whole series of children's books. I also have a single that just came out. It's available on Apple, on iTunes. Let me see if I can find that. And it's also available on Spotify. It's called Please Listen to What I Say. And if you do have a monthly subscription to iTunes, you can just get it, I imagine, with your package. And if not, I think it's 99 cents. So again, thank you for being here. My last comment is we are looking for TV show hosts. So if you're interested, I will share with you our website. We are looking for people who speak different languages. So currently we've got shows in English, in French, and in German. And we're looking for people in other parts of the world who want to be a TV show host. There is a fee, to be transparent. This is our website, usaglobaltv.com. And you can find daily featured videos here. I was interviewed by one of our team members, which is always an honor. And then I taught class here. This is the class that I was teaching, one of them actually, in London. That's me there teaching elevated listening. And that's what our platform is built on. So all of our team members have to take my classes on listening so that when they have a guest come in, the guest knows there's no script and that we are listening at the highest level without judgment, without problem solving, without stage hogging, and without interruption. So if you're interested in being a TV show host, you can come over here to Elite Host Certification. And then you can just come down here and fill out this information here, and we'll get back in touch with you. And then finally, if you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, you can come here to the book your session, and you start here. So everyone is more than welcome to 3 free interviews in the course of a year. So you would just click the first icon on the left, and there is a book your session here. And then after you've had your 3 free interviews, you can come back for an additional 3 interviews, but it's $154 per interview. And then if you'd like to join our team of elevated listeners, you'll take a 2-hour course. You get a certificate that you can use on your website and on your LinkedIn, and you get to meet the rest of our global team. And then you can have as many interviews as you'd like in the course of a year. And then if you're also interested in taking your interview to the next level, we do provide search engine optimization. We provide editing. We can provide social media marketing, a lot of different offerings there. So that's where you would go to book your session. So I'll stop sharing there. And once again, I want to thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you for our next episode. If you would like to see any of the previous shows, let me show you how you can do that. You can go over to, and I'm going to share my screen again. You can go over to our YouTube channels, either one, but I'm going to take you to USA Global TV and Radio. And then you can come here to playlists. Come to playlists. And then you can actually look for mine. Here it is. Let's finally talk with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I also host Iconic Women, and I host Judgment, the Hidden Sin. And I am also a co-host on A Woman's Prerogative, which should be on here somewhere. I probably passed it already. But you can see we've got tons of playlists. So just come over here and check it out. And then feel free, again, to go ahead and subscribe to our channels. We would love to have you. All right. Happy New Year to you. Remember, you don't need a new version of yourself. Just love and like yourself the way you are right now. You have everything you need inside of you. You don't need external validation. You just need self-love and self-respect. Take care of yourselves and go in peace. This is Let's Finally Talk, a heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Live streaming every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Join me on YouTube at Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, on Facebook at Dr. Jacalyn, and on Instagram at Dr. Jacalyn, as seen and heard on the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. We've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, and I've earned the 100 Global Top Women Icons in Media. My TV shows are Iconic Women, Creating a World of Possibilities, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, A Woman's Prerogative, Sisterhood Across Borders, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, and the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. We're streaming every night live on Let's Finally Talk.